Foundation damage is never something you planned for. When cracks appear and doors stop working, it can feel scary and overwhelming. At Ramjack Foundation Repair, we understand. For over 40 years, we've helped homeowners navigate these challenges with engineered solutions that are built to last and fit your budget. At Ramjack, we're committed to doing what's right for you, your home, and your family. Let us give you peace of mind with free on-site evaluations and free second opinions. Schedule your evaluation today at ramjacksc.com.
Hello, I'm here during the lunch rush with Janice, who owns her own food truck.
Best cheesesteaks in town.
Janice traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance for her food truck business. We're here where she needs us most.
They sure are.
We make it so easy for her to save, with customised coverage that grows with her business. Sorry, I just get so emotional talking about saving folks money.
Not this onion I'm chopping?
It's just so beautiful. Oh yeah, no, it's the onion.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
The sun's shining, birds are singing, and all feels right in the world.
Until the season changes, and suddenly you lose your motivation to get out of bed. In fact, 1 in 5 people experience some form of depression, no matter the season or time of year.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, our vision is to build a mentally healthy nation for all, because we want you to live your best life and be your best you all year round.
Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
If something in your relationship feels off, but you can't explain why. If you've spent years trying harder in the relationship, and yet it just keeps hurting, this space is for you. Welcome to the Covert Narcissism Podcast. Last week, we looked at the bigger picture of our culture and asked a very difficult question. Why does covert narcissism seem to be everywhere right now? In that episode, which was titled Why Covert Narcissism is Thriving in Today's Culture, we looked at 5 conditions that allow it to hide right now. We explored several cultural shifts that make it easier for these behaviors to remain unseen. Things like emphasis on image over integrity, environments where discomfort is treated as harm, and social dynamics that reward appearance more than accountability. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, I would really encourage you to go back and hear it. It helps to explain the environment that we're all living in right now. Because once you start to see these conditions, something becomes very clear. This isn't just about one difficult person in your life. It's about understanding the landscape that we are all navigating. And when you understand that landscape, then you can start to create a game plan. You can't control the cultural shifts that are happening around you. None of us can. But we can become more aware of the dynamics so that we can find a better way to exist within them. We can learn to recognize the patterns, protect our own peace, and move through the world with more clarity. So today, I want to bring that conversation a little closer to home. If you're wondering whether you may be encountering covert narcissistic dynamics everywhere or with, so many people in your life, I want to give you a few simple questions that you can quietly ask yourself so that you can figure out what's going on. Not as a diagnostic checklist, not even as a way to label anyone, just as a way to pay attention to your own experience inside the relationships that you are having. And I'm not talking about just a significant other or a spousal relationship here. I'm talking about friends, coworkers, neighbors, other family members. Very often, clarity does not come from you trying to analyze the other person. So I want to stress that. This is not about labeling anyone or diagnosing anyone. Instead, clarity comes from noticing what consistently happens to you and how you feel and how it impacts your thoughts and behaviors when you interact with the people that are in your life. So if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, guilty, or like something just didn't quite add up, these questions may help to bring you some clarity. Now let's walk through them together. Question number 1. When I bring up a concern, does the conversation consistently shift to their feelings instead of addressing the issue that I'm dealing with? In life, difficult conversations are definitely uncomfortable sometimes. Even just you being stressed can be uncomfortable to the other person. They might want to help resolve that or shift gears and look away. It is normal for conversations to be difficult. But when there's a healthy relationship happening, a healthy dynamic happening, both people stay present in the discussion. And so if you say something to them like, hey, when that happened yesterday, it hurt my feelings, even if it pertains to them or not, a healthy partner is going to respond with more curiosity. They're going to ask questions. They might say, I didn't realize that your feelings got hurt. Tell me more about what you saw or what you perceived. They focus on staying present with you and understanding what happened inside of you without defensiveness, without judgment. But in covert narcissistic dynamics, as we talk about so often, something very different tends to happen. The moment you bring up a concern, the conversation flips. Suddenly, they're the ones that are hurt, or suddenly they're the ones with the bigger problem. Suddenly, they are the ones being misunderstood, or they feel attacked. You may hear things like, well, I can't believe you think that I would do something like that. Or, that really hurts that you see me that way. Or, you think you had it bad. Listen to what happened to me. Or even, I guess I'm just a terrible person then. You see, now the conversation is no longer about what happened or what you experienced. It's about their emotional reaction to what you are bringing up, what you are trying to talk about. Before you even know it, something very subtle has just shifted. You started the conversation expressing your feelings and your thoughts and perspectives, but now you're comforting them. Now you are taking care of them. Does that sound familiar? Absolutely. But this happens in friendships, work relationships, family relationships. This is not just about spousal relationships. You are now reassuring them. You are explaining to them that you didn't mean to upset them. You're defending maybe even why you brought this up at all. Or maybe you just let it go and sweep it under the rug. But regardless, your original concern quietly disappears from the center of the conversation. Maybe your instinct is to let it disappear in order to keep things peaceful. I can certainly relate to that because that is definitely where I have fallen through most of my life. I would much rather swallow my own disappointment or my own frustration or my own concern than to upset someone that I care about. This pattern can repeat for years, and it can impact a lot of your relationships. Many people don't recognize it right away because it doesn't feel aggressive when the other person is just shifting the conversation. It feels maybe emotional, maybe they're having an emotional moment, but the effect is the same. Your concerns never really get addressed. So pay attention to that. Notice that because it does have an impact on you. Question number 2 that you can ask yourself is, do I often leave interactions with this person feeling confused, guilty, or like I did something wrong, even when I started the conversation calmly, respectfully, out of genuineness? One of the most common experiences that people describe in covert narcissistic relationships is what I'm going to call emotional fog. You start a conversation with a clear thought. You've taken time maybe to even think about what you want to say or what you want to communicate. You've chosen your words carefully, not walking on eggshells, but carefully with compassion and care. You're trying to be respectful and constructive. You might even be simply talking spontaneously. Maybe there is no problem hanging in the air. It's just normal conversation. But somewhere during the conversation, things somehow shift. The topic moves, the story changes, maybe your motives are questioned, or your memory is challenged. And by the end of the interaction, you might find yourself saying something like, okay, maybe I misunderstood. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Even if you don't say these words out loud, maybe you're saying them to yourself. Maybe you're saying, I might be overreacting here. Or, I'm sorry if I made this bigger than it needed to be. And you walk away with self-doubt. And afterward, you might even sit replaying the conversation in your head, which so many of us have done so many times. And you're sitting there thinking, what just happened? Why do I feel bad? Did that turn into my fault somehow? Did I do something wrong here? This confusion is not a sign that you are incapable of communicating. Often it's a sign that the conversation was quietly redirected. It was controlled or manipulated. Covert narcissistic interactions often involve this subtle deflection, shifting responsibility and blame and accountability, all the things we've talked about, reframing events in a way that leaves you questioning your own perceptions and memories. Again, all the things that we've talked about. Over time, that emotional fog can become exhausting. You might not even realize it's happening. You might walk away going, boy, I must be really tired today because, my brain feels really foggy, or I just can't quite seem to focus and concentrate. This is not because you're weak or because you're overly sensitive. It's because you're trying to navigate conversations where the ground keeps shifting right beneath your feet. Question number 3 is, does this person appear kind, generous, or supportive to others, but you experience something very different when you are with them in private? Now, this is one of the most disorienting aspects of covert narcissism. From the outside, this person may look like a wonderful human being. Again, I'm not talking about a spousal relationship here. I'm talking about friends and family members. They may be helpful, generous. They may appear thoughtful, supportive, even selfless. And friends might say, or other family members might say to you, boy, they're such an awesome person. They're one of the nicest people I know. They would do anything for anyone. Now, hearing that, when you're experiencing something different one-on-one with them, okay, or in private with them, hearing these things that people are saying about them, it really can make you question yourself even more, because your experience behind closed doors feels very different. When the two of you are alone, maybe you're experiencing subtle criticism, or maybe they're even critical behind other people's back, or they're critical of you. You might be experiencing some emotional coldness or dismissiveness, defensiveness, maybe just a lack of genuine interest in your thoughts and feelings, or a lack of care that they're really giving to other people. That contrast between their public image and that private conversation or private behavior can make you feel crazy. It makes you feel incredibly isolated. Because if you ever try to explain what you're experiencing, or ever, try to get some clarity or some understanding from someone else who is a mutual friend or a mutual family member, people may struggle to recognize it because their version of the person that they see doesn't jive with that. And so they can't reconcile it. And they're going to tell you, no, you're just seeing that wrong, or they're just having a bad day. They're going to start making all the excuses that you made maybe back in your marriage or in your relationship that brought you here in the first place. This is why so many survivors of covert narcissistic relationships say the same thing over and over. No one would believe me. They even say, I'm not sure I believe myself. That gap between public perception and private experience, it can keep people doubting themselves for a very long time, years, even decades. And again, I'm talking about, friends, coworkers, family members that maybe you're not around them all the time. A spousal relationship, you are living with them day in and day out. So that private life you have with them, you experience that a lot. Like a lot of your relationship is private. But in these friends, families, coworkers, these are people that you don't have as much private life with. So it isn't as clear. It isn't as easy to get a hold of that difference between public and private. Maybe you see them way more often.
Hey, it's Howie Mandel, and I am inviting you to witness history as me and my Howie Do It gaming team take on Gilly the King and Wallow 267's $1 million gaming in an epic global gaming league video game showdown. 4 rounds, multiple games, 1 winner, plus a halftime performance by multi-platinum artist Travie McCoy. Watch all the action and see who wins and advances to the championship match against Neo right now at globalgamingleague.com. That's globalgamingleague.com. Everybody games.
Deadlines move, plans change, and sometimes opportunities pop up out of nowhere. When you need branded gear fast, 4imprint is ready to deliver. 4imprint offers hundreds of promotional products in their 24-hour category. Everything from custom apparel, bags, and drinkware to writing tools, trade show staples, and high-tech gear. At 4imprint, it's not just about speed. It's about doing it right. Your logo is printed with precision. Your order is packed with care, and it all ships out fast. And with their 360-degree guarantee, you can be confident it'll show up right on time, just the way you planned it. That's the certainty of 4imprint. So if you're prepping for a last-minute event or jumping on a big opportunity, you don't have to settle or scramble. With 4imprint, you get fast, reliable service and peace of mind built right in. Check out their full 24-hour selection at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
only publicly than you do in the private life or the private conversations that you're having. So it really can create a lot of confusion, a lot of self-doubt. Question number 4, do my needs, feelings, or even successes seem to trigger subtle competition, maybe some criticism or even some withdrawal? In healthy relationships, people who love and care about each other, when something good happens for you, they're happy with you. They celebrate you. They encourage you and motivate you. They share in your joy. And on the other side of that, the flip side of that, when you are upset, they're upset too. They sympathize with you. They care for you and with you and about you. But in covert narcissistic dynamics, your needs or even your successes, they sometimes create tension instead. If you share an accomplishment with them, they might respond with something like, well, that's great, but you still need to work on X, Y, or Z. Or that's awesome that you had that. You want to hear about all what I did. And now they're competing with you, trying to one up you. Maybe they immediately, shift that focus back on themselves. Or maybe they even withdraw and just kind of, oh, that's nice, and walk away and distance themselves. You may even start to notice that when you're struggling, they might seem more comfortable. Maybe now they're more confident and thriving because the atmosphere changed and you kind of got knocked down a little bit by life. Sometimes their criticism shows up disguised even as helpful advice. You may even start to notice that when you're struggling, they seem more comfortable. When you're overwhelmed or doubting yourself, they may step in with advice, guidance, a sense of calm authority, and it may seem, or at least appear to be, genuine. In those moments, they can seem supportive, even reassuring. But when you're confident, excited, or thriving, then the atmosphere shifts in subtle ways where now they are dismissing that success or competing with it. For example, you might share that you received a promotion at work, and instead of celebrating with you, they respond with something like, well, just make sure you don't get in over your head. There's a lot of responsibility. It sounds reasonable on the surface, but that moment just deflated all of the joy that you have about your promotion. The moment quietly shifts from celebration to caution. Or perhaps you mention a new project or opportunity that you're excited about, and they respond with, that's great, but remember last time when that didn't work out? Instead of sharing in your excitement, the focus moves towards your potential failure. Sometimes it shows up as comparisons. You might talk about something you've accomplished and they quickly respond with a story about someone else who did it better, faster, or more impressively, especially if it's their own story about them. Other times the criticism comes disguised as helpful advice. You might say you're proud of how you handled a difficult situation, and they respond with, well, next time you might want to approach it a little differently. Again, it sounds constructive, and maybe it is, but the underlying message is that your success still isn't quite right. And that's what starts to hurt, and that's what I want you to start noticing. Sometimes the shift shows up as emotional withdrawal. You share something good that happened, and instead of engaging with you, they become quiet, distracted, or distant. The energy in the room, it just changes. Over time, these small moments can add up in these relationships. You may begin to notice that your struggles seem to invite connection while your confidence seems to create distance. Even without realizing it, you start downplaying your successes, at least when this person's around, holding back parts of yourself just to keep the atmosphere comfortable. You may not even realize you're doing it until you're already doing it. Maybe you begin to unconsciously shrink parts of yourself just to keep the relationship comfortable. You stop sharing certain successes. Maybe you even downplay your needs. You're making yourself smaller. Again, this is the pattern that a lot of us have lived in our marriages, but this happens even in our relationships with our friends, coworkers, families. Not because anybody told you directly to make yourself smaller. They're not typically, directly telling you this, but because experience has taught you that your full self somehow disrupts the balance of the relationship. Question number 5 is, do I find myself working harder and harder to keep the relationship smooth, calm, and positive? This is often the quietest shift of all. At first, the relationship may feel relatively normal. Maybe it's somebody you've known for decades. But slowly, almost without noticing, and you may already be in these patterns and don't even know it yet, You begin managing the emotional environment. It's something we've done for so many years that we're doing it. We just keep doing it, and we don't even realize we're doing it. You choose your words carefully. You avoid certain topics. You think ahead about how something might be received. You become the one who smooths things over, keeps the peace, manages the mood. And maybe that's okay for us to do an extent of that. I get that. It helps the family relationships and the friendships. But if you're doing this all the time, again, it's exhausting and it's making yourself smaller. And over time, the relationship begins to revolve around maintaining stability for them. You may tell yourself you're just being thoughtful or patient and understanding, and that's okay. And there's some truth to that. But if you step back and look honestly, you might realize something else too. You're carrying the emotional responsibility for somebody else, for another adult in your life, for that relationship, for the entire relationship. That is an exhausting place to live. And this is where I say we need to step out of that dynamic, step into who we are, be okay with taking up space in your life, being you with your thoughts, your needs, your perspectives, your opinions, your feelings. All of those things matter. And if you have people in your life who don't give you that space, maybe those are people that don't need to take up quite so much space in your life. Maybe it's time to surround ourselves with the people in our lives who do allow us to take up the space of us, and they get to take up the space of them. It's a beautiful dynamic when that develops. So let's recap these 5 questions in a quick and easy format. Number 1 is, does the conversation shift to their issues or their life? Number 2 is, do you leave feeling wrong or guilty? Number 3 is, are they different in public than in private? Number 4, are they competing with you? And number 5, is this relationship only effort and work on your side? I hope that these questions help you to step back and to do some reflecting on these relationships. It doesn't mean you have to leave all the relationships, no. But you do need to know where your energy is being used up so that you can choose where your energy goes and pour some of that energy back into you. If you recognize some of these patterns, it doesn't automatically mean the person in your life has narcissistic personality disorder. In fact, I'm going to say most of them, or a lot of them, don't. Human relationships are complex. Every one of us has moments of defensiveness and insecurity. But if these patterns are consistent, if they leave you feeling chronically confused, diminished, or responsible for managing the entire emotional landscape of that relationship, that is something worth paying attention to. Not to put a label on, but to pay attention to you and your energy and your feelings. Your experience matters. Your feelings matter. And relationships, they should not require you to slowly disappear in order to keep them functioning. And if that's what's going on in your life, you need to take a step back and choose. If this episode stirred up recognition for you, I want you to know something very important. Clarity often comes slowly. You do not have to rush to conclusions here. You don't have to make big decisions today and totally uproot your life or go into, total isolation. No. But asking honest questions about your experience is often the very first step towards seeing things clearly. And that is where healing begins. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. If there were ever an audience that I wish did not have to exist, it would be this one. Because of what it means you've lived through. I'm truly sorry that you understand this so deeply. And I'm really glad that you're here. May this be a place of safety, clarity, and peace. You are not alone anymore, and you don't have to figure this out by yourself. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe so you don't miss future conversations. And if you'd like to learn more about the support, resources, or coaching that is available for you, you can visit covertnarcissism.com. While I hate it for everyone who understands what I am talking about, I'm really glad that you're here, and I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson, Covert Narcissism Podcast, and CNG Life Coaching is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes. It is not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. Renee shares stories from her personal experience as well as from those that she has worked with for several years. Her material does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or support a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and the information provided. Thank you.
Is your HVAC struggling? Upgrade now with Quality Service Company. Get 0% financing for 60 months on a brand new high-efficiency Ruud system. As a Ruud Pro partner, we use next-gen tech to precision map your home for the perfect fit. No more guessing. Click Get Started at qualityservicecompany.net/Ruud. Again, that's qualityservicecompany.net/RUUD. Subject to credit approval. 0% APR on select systems. Terms apply. See website for details.
Deadlines move. Plans change. And sometimes opportunities pop up out of nowhere. When you need branded gear fast, 4imprint is ready to deliver. 4imprint offers hundreds of promotional products in their 24-hour category. Everything from custom apparel, bags, and drinkware to writing tools, trade show staples, and high-tech gear. At 4imprint, it's not just about speed. It's about doing it right. Your logo is printed with precision. Your order is packed with care, and it all ships out fast. And with their 360-degree guarantee, you can be confident it'll show up right on time, just the way you planned it. That's the certainty of 4imprint. So if you're prepping for a last-minute event or jumping on a big opportunity, you don't have to settle or scramble. With 4imprint, you get fast, reliable service and peace of mind built right in. Check out their full 24-hour selection at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
Deadlines shift, plans change, and sometimes you just need promo products fast. Turn to 4imprint. 4imprint has hundreds of promotional items available with 24-hour turnaround. From custom apparel and drinkware to trade show gear, writing tools, and more. Your logo is printed with care. Your order ships fast. And with their 360-degree guarantee, you know it'll show up right and on time. That's the certainty of 4imprint. Check out the full 24-hour selection at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.